Hi everybody, this is Brandon from Kosh Solutions. The hidden line items, how AI is reshaping IT budgets. Artificial intelligence is usually discussed in terms of productivity, faster writing, smarter automation, better analytics, and new ways to serve customers. Those opportunities are real, but for many organizations, the first financial impact of AI may not show up as a new AI tool at all. It may show up as a more expensive laptop refresh. It may show up in cloud subscription costs. It may show up in stricter cybersecurity insurance requirements. It may show up as another reason your IT roadmap needs to be planned earlier, not later. At Kosh Solutions, we work with SMBs, nonprofits, healthcare organizations, local governments, and education teams across New Mexico, Southern Colorado, and Southern California. From that perspective, AI is not just a technology trend, it is becoming a budget planning issue. Even if your organization has not adopted a single AI platform, the AI boom is already changing the market around your IT environment in 5 areas. The pressure on your budget is in hardware planning. For years, business hardware planning followed a fairly predictable pattern. A workstation or server aged out, you replaced it. The new device was usually faster, had more storage, and cost roughly what you expected. That cycle is becoming less predictable. AI infrastructure depends heavily on high-performance memory, storage, GPUs, and data center hardware. As global demand increases, manufacturers and suppliers naturally prioritize the highest demand and highest margin parts of the market. That does not mean every office laptop is suddenly an AI computer, but it does mean standard business hardware can be affected by the same supply chain. The practical issue for local organizations is not whether RAM prices move up or down in a given week. The issue is that hardware budgeting is becoming more volatile. A 25 workstation refresh, a server replacement, or a firewall upgrade can become more expensive if you wait until equipment is already failing. For organizations with board approval cycles, grant funding, public purchasing rules, or annual budget windows, that timing matters. Kosh's practical recommendation is to treat hardware lifecycle management as a planning discipline, not a reaction to broken equipment. Keep a rolling 12 to 24 month view of devices, warranties, operating system timelines, server age, firewall age, and critical business applications. The earlier you know what needs to be replaced, the more options you have. Data center growth is becoming a regional infrastructure story. Let's state the obvious. AI runs somewhere. Behind every chatbot, automation platform, and AI-powered business application is a large amount of computing infrastructure. Hotly debated data centers growth is now part of the regional conversation in the Southwest. New Mexico has seen major interest in large-scale data center projects, including the Project Jupiter announcement in Doñana County. The broader data center and AI trends matter for business leaders. Across the country, utilities and regulators are trying to decide how to serve massive new power loads without shifting infrastructure costs onto homes, small businesses, schools, municipalities, and nonprofits. Colorado is already having that conversation. Xcel Energy has proposed a special tariff for very large customers, including data centers, so that new high-load users pay more directly for the infrastructure they require. For a small or medium-sized organization, the takeaway is not panic. The takeaway is that electricity, cloud infrastructure, and vendor subscription pricing are increasingly connected. A local organization may not buy power from the same source as an AI data center, but the vendors you depend on may be paying more for compute, storage, cooling, and infrastructure. Eventually, those costs tend to work their way into pricing. Kosh's practical recommendation around this is audit your cloud and subscription environment before prices increase, forcing the conversation. Many organizations are paying for unused licenses, oversized cloud resources, forgotten SaaS tools, duplicate backup platforms, or underused storage. Cleaning that up is one of the best ways to offset rising vendor costs. Third way that AI is increasing your costs is changing the cybersecurity threat model. AI has also changed the quality and speed of cyber attacks. For years, employees were trained to watch for obvious signs of phishing, poor grammar, awkward phrasing, strange formatting, or messages that just didn't sound right. For a few years now, that advice is no longer enough. Generative AI can help attackers write polished, customized, believable emails. It can imitate tone, summarize public information, and make social engineering feel more personal. The old red flags have not necessarily disappeared, but they are less reliable than they used to be for sure. This is especially important for organizations that rely on trust-based communication, like municipalities, schools, nonprofits, accounting firms, healthcare clinics, and professional service businesses. A well-written message that appears to come from a vendor, executive, board member, or coworker can create real risk. The defensive strategy has to shift from can our people spot every bad email to do we have layers of protection when someone eventually clicks? That means stronger identity controls, multi-factor authentication, endpoint detection and response, managed monitoring, email security, conditional access, backup strategy, and clear internal approval processes for financial changes. Our practical recommendation on this topic is update security awareness training so it reflects the modern threat environment. Employees should still learn to question suspicious messages, but the bigger focus should be process. Verify payment changes out of band. Do not approve unusual requests through email alone. Report questionable messages quickly, and make it easy for staff to ask for help without embarrassment. Cyber insurance is becoming a proof exercise. Cyber insurance is not just about buying a policy anymore. It is increasingly about proving that your organization has the right controls in place. Insurance carriers commonly ask about multi-factor authentication, endpoint protection, backup practices, security training, privileged access, incident response planning, and whether critical systems are monitored. The important word is prove. It is not enough to believe MFA is turned on. Can you demonstrate it? Is it enforced for remote access, email, administrator accounts, and cloud applications? Are exceptions documented? Are backups tested? Are employees trained? Is endpoint protection deployed consistently? This can be a challenge for nonprofits, local governments, and small businesses that have grown organically over time. They may have many of the right tools in place, but not enough documentation or consistency to satisfy an insurer, auditor, board, or compliance requirement. Our recommendation on this is do not wait until renewal season to review your cyber insurance requirements. Use the renewal date as a deadline, then work backward. Identify the controls your insurer expects, compare them against the current environment, and create a remediation plan with enough time to fix the gaps. And finally, the fifth way that AI is increasing your budget is everything is becoming connected. The biggest AI-related budget issue is not one line item. It is the way several line items are starting to move together. Hardware refreshes are affected by component demand. Cloud costs are affected by compute demand. Cybersecurity costs are affected by AI-assisted attacks. Insurance requirements are affected by the changing threat environment. Compliance expectations are affected by the need to prove controls. For many organizations, these are still treated as separate conversations. The finance team sees hardware as capital spending. The operations team sees cloud tools as subscriptions. The insurance team sees cyber requirements as a renewal issue. The leadership team sees AI as an innovation topic. The IT team sees the connections between all of them. That is where a strong IT roadmap becomes valuable. It gives leadership a single view of upcoming technology needs, risk areas, refresh cycles, licensing changes, security priorities, compliance requirements, and budget timing. What Southwest organizations should do next. If you are planning your next quarter, budget year, or board discussion, start with these questions. Which devices, servers, firewalls, or network components are within 12 to 24 months of replacement? Which cloud or software subscriptions are underused, duplicated, or no longer aligned with the organization? Can we prove that MFA, endpoint protection, backups, and monitoring are deployed consistently? When is our next cyber insurance renewal, and what evidence will the carrier request? Which AI tools are employees already using informally? And do we have a policy for safe use? What would create more risk for us, adopting AI too quickly or ignoring the operational costs AI is creating around us? AI is not something local organizations should fear. It will create real opportunities for better service, better data, and better productivity. But it should be planned with clear eyes. The organizations that do best will not be the ones chasing every AI trend. It will be the ones that understand how the market is changing, protecting their budgets, strengthening their security, and make practical decisions before small issues become expensive surprises. At Kosh Solutions, our role is to help you look around the corner. If you have questions about your upcoming IT budget, hardware lifecycle, cybersecurity posture, cloud costs, or cybersecurity insurance requirements, reach out to Kosh Solutions. We'd be happy to chat. Disclaimer: the information contained in this communication is intended for limited use for informational purposes only. It is not considered professional advice and instead is general information that may or may not apply to specific situations. Each case is unique and should be evaluated on its own by a professional qualified to provide advice specifically intended to protect your individual situation. Kosh is not liable for improper use of this information. Thank you.